ACMi productions are only made possible with your support. Visit patreon.com/ACMi to learn how you can help. The following program is brought to you by Arlington Community Media, where we tell your story.
The League of Women Voters of Arlington hosts a candidates' night for the upcoming election. The Arlington Friends of the Drama staged the musical Once on This Island, and we visit with local artist Margaret Moody and her puppets.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
Hello everyone, I'm James Milan and welcome to today's edition of ACMi News. Doe Inc., the Massachusetts Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence, is a Boston-based nonprofit that held its Advocacy Day on March 16th at the State House. The day included survivors, advocates, and community partners coming together and featured speakers including various state legislators.
I am going to stand with my sisters each and every day to let them know there is hope, there is love here for you. Thank you.
Well, it's really heartwarming to know that what was basically an unused space has now become a gathering place for ideas and discussion, and most importantly around the issues of the rights and protection of survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault.
Advocates, community partners, and survivors of domestic violence gathered in the Massachusetts State House for Doe Inc's Advocacy Day. The coalition brings together more than 65 member organizations across the state, all working to end sexual assault and abuse.
I think we view this Advocacy Day as just the culmination of, our 2-year-long advocacy efforts for all of our priority legislation, budget advocacy, and it's truly just a time for our coalition members, so programs, survivors, advocates to come together and just be in person together. So it's, there's a lot of behind the scenes planning involved in terms of getting people here and, making sure people are just ready to feel empowered to advocate.
The event begins with a speaking program highlighting key bills that promote better language access, increased financial assistance, and protections against abuse. Among key issues raised this year is an opposition to a proposed $360 million women's prison in Framingham.
We're here in partnership with survivor-led and survivor-serving organizations to support the jail and prison construction moratorium and the Massachusetts Survivors Act.
Partner organizations, including Families for Justice as Healing, are pushing for programs to keep survivors out of the legal system and create pathways to release.
We want to find out what else healing and accountability can look like, and we know that no amount of prison repair or construction can change the traumatizing nature of incarceration for women, particularly survivors of sexual and domestic violence.
For many, Advocacy Day is more than policy. It's about visibility, community, and ensuring that survivors' voices shape the systems that protect them.
I feel like it's part of my own healing journey to know that I'm advocating for survivors. I really reached the lowest point in my life after I was assaulted, and a big reason why I've joined the Miss America opportunity is to amplify the voices of other survivors and to have opportunities like this, to speak at the Massachusetts State House, to work with organizations like the one that saved my own life.
For me, as someone who is a survivor of sexual violence, it's an issue that's very personal to me and to my story. And so being able to speak to these issues and even showing up at the State House today has been a wonderful experience, not only for myself, but just to be someone who's in the community and know that there is safety and there is hope for survivors in the future.
With the legislative session set to conclude in July, organizers say community involvement remains essential.
Well, people get discouraged because an idea comes forward and maybe it doesn't get adopted right away. And so what you have to do is you have to be patient. And so I like to suggest that you continue to advocate and educate, but do so in a respectful way. That, legislators and their staff have a lot on their plate, and we need to acknowledge that. But I think if you do it the right way and you keep showing how important it is to you, and you bring organizations and individuals like those who are here in this room today, they have the ability the firsthand experience dealing with survivors, when they get that message across, they get the attention of policymakers and their staff. And eventually it begins to percolate and become an idea that people are interested in.
Viewers at home can support this cause by attending events such as JDI's Spring Into Action event on May 5th, or by getting involved online.
Such a powerful and meaningful conference. ACMi is grateful to share a part of what we experienced during JDI's Advocacy Day. The League of Women Voters of Arlington held their annual Candidates Night on March 18th in collaboration with Envision Arlington. Those vying for spots in the assessor's office, on the school committee, and on the select board had a chance to speak directly to the public and to answer prepared questions about their candidacy.
Good evening. Welcome to Arlington Candidates Night for the town election, which will be held on Saturday, March 28th, 2026. Candidates Night is jointly sponsored by Envision Arlington and the League of Women Voters of Arlington. Tonight's program is being broadcast by Arlington Community Media Inc., also known as ACMi. Candidates Night is a nonpartisan service providing information to the voters. Tonight's program will include statements from candidates as well as a question and answer period. Residents of Arlington have submitted questions in advance of this meeting. These questions were reviewed by a committee of League and Envision Arlington members to represent the issues of concern to the audience. The moderator will be the one who presents the questions to the candidates.
Good evening, and thank you, Pamela. It's a pleasure to be back in Arlington. Thank you for attending and watching. First, I'd like to outline the procedure and rules for this evening. The candidates for town offices will appear in this order this evening: assessor, select board, and school committee. Each candidate will make an introductory statement with 2 minutes allowed. The candidates will speak in the order in which they appear on the ballot. After the candidates have finished their statements, we will have questions and answers. As mentioned before, questions have been submitted in advance. All candidates will have the opportunity to answer each question for their office.
To all voters here tonight and throughout the town, please remember to vote on Saturday, March 28th, 2026. Polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you for coming tonight and for watching. This forum has been sponsored by Envision Arlington and the League of Women Voters of Arlington. Good night.
If you were unable to catch Candidates Night, the full live stream is available on ACMi's YouTube page, youtube.com/ACMiTV. And one final reminder, the town elections are on Saturday, March 28th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. ACMi will be covering the election results live starting at 8 p.m. So tune in then to find out what happened in this quite consequential election year. On Saturday, March 21st, Arlington's fire and police departments once again faced off in the Guns N' Hoses charity hockey game to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club. Let's take a look at some highlights from the game and hear from some of the players.
The annual Police vs. Fire charity hockey match took place on March 21st at the Ed Burns Arena. The teams are comprised of both men and women who serve the town of Arlington. All proceeds from the event went to the Boys and Girls Club. ACMi News caught up with some young fans of the teams that came out to support.
I used to not like hockey very much, but I started playing field hockey, now I like it more.
I really liked hockey. It was my favorite sport, but the reason it was my favorite sport was because you could ice skate, but I didn't know how hard it was to get the puck when there's other people playing.
The opening faceoff, one back to the fire department and Rich Gallagher. He's Stratton, get another turnover, and oh! The first goal of the game coming from the police department. Now Mansfield a shot, lying free, And does it squirt through? Yes! Not able to win the race with Largenton. Largenton had a head start there, but recycled near the blue line. We have another shot right in front of goal. Tic-tac-toe passing. Correction, Brendan Flynn. One-timer. Oh, that one just barely squirts past. Brendan Flynn. Gallagher right at the point. Goal! Police Department one final pass. Here's Shea. Potentially putting salt on the wound. Fire scores! Matt Shea in the dying seconds.
Despite the score favoring the AFD heavily, the Ed Burns Arena was filled with smiles.
Hello everybody, I'm Jack Hughes with ACMi News, here with Meredith Gallagher of the Arlington Police Department after the annual Guns and Hoses game. Now Meredith, this game, all the proceeds going to the Boys and Girls Club of Arlington. What does it mean for your organizations to be connected with the community like this?
It's awesome. When I was growing up, we spent a lot of time at the Boys and Girls Club, so it's really nice to give back. And again, we had a great turnout, so couldn't have asked for anything better.
And of course, competing with your brother Ryan, you have the whole Kieran family turnout. What does it mean to have all these family connections coming in?
We have lots of family connections between both sides. My older brother Rich is a lieutenant on the fire department, so again, we've had a rivalry pretty much our entire lives, so it's nice to play against him. And both of us got on the score sheet tonight, so very excited about that.
All proceeds going to the Boys and Girls Club. How important is it for the organization as a whole to be able to give back to the community?
Yeah, the Boys and Girls Club is, it's a pillar of our community. We really prioritize kids getting, having a community, having sports, and just being able to get together. So if we can raise money for that, then that's a great cause, and we're glad to do it.
9 goals, 10 goals, depending on how you count Shays at the end. What was working on that end of the ice?
Well, listen, these guys know their roles, they know their positions. We had a plan, we executed the plan, and the plan was executed brilliantly. Credit goes to the men. They really knew what they were doing out there. They put all their heart, their guts, their blood, their sweat. They really did the job tonight. I'm very proud of them, and nothing makes me happier than this victory.
All right, thank you, Coach. We appreciate it. Go celebrate the win.
Thank you very much.
Jack Hughes for ACMi News.
Let's go APD! Let's go the fire department! APD! Fire department!
Congratulations to the AFD on their 10-4 victory. And to the APD, don't fret. You'll have another chance next year. The Arlington Friends of the Drama concluded their run of the musical Once on This Island. The Tony Award-winning coming-of-age story of a peasant girl in the French Antilles ran through the month of March.
Here at Arlington Friends of the Drama, the musical Once on This Island is bringing a story of love, courage, and destiny to the local stage. We spoke with members of the creative team to see how this production came together.
I like to say it's a mix of like The Little Mermaid meets the Caribbean. And with that, in the sense, we have the 2 roles, the leads. We have a boy and a girl, and they fall in love, but based on colorism, they cannot be together because one is a grand dame and one is a peasant, and they want to fall in love with each other. And based on that, they're not allowed to have that happy ending, if you will. So my vision was in the sense of choreographing the show. I wanted to keep it true to the Caribbeanism of it, so bringing all the islands together with their dancing. So I studied a lot of the West African dancing. I'm an Afro-Latina myself, so I added some elements of like the reggae and the salsa and then African movements to tie it all together to go with the music of the show.
I think it still resonates because the themes are very hopeful. and the music's very joyous, but there's a dark side to this show as well because it addresses colorism amongst the natives on the island, and it deals with issues that are still relevant today. So it's kind of a microcosm of what I think society deals with every day, not just ours, but in other places in the world as well. The show starts off really like noisy and big, and there's a storm, and then it ends on a very quiet, poignant, and pointed tone. It's very quiet, and the lights just come down very slowly, and I don't know, I love that moment. It's very powerful to me, and we built that together.
What I hope the audience takes away from this story is that love always conquers death, and to follow your heart, even if it leads down that road of there is no happy ending. But just to also experience that this is a part of our history, it's a part of our past, it's a part of our present, and hopefully it's not going to be a part of our future.
Memories Matter is an Arlington High School club that partners with the Council on Aging. Their latest event involved a little time traveling.
Hi, so we are from Memories Matter from Arlington High School, and we're a club that supports Alzheimer's disease, and we raise funds for the cause and spread awareness. And today we're here at the Senior Center to play Back to the Future, which is a really good old movie that all of the seniors would love. And we just wanted to do this to spend some time with them, and we have a fun little mocktail bar here just to be able to connect with them and just have a really fun time.
I don't know, hearing Back to the Future referred to as an old movie really puts things in perspective for me. But I sure hope that my fellow seniors had a great time. Speaking of things that will take you back in time, the ACA's disco-themed gala is making a comeback in April.
This year, the Arlington Center for the Arts is presenting its annual fundraiser. It's called the Studio ACA, a Disco Extravaganza. It's actually an encore of last year's event, which was very popular, and so we thought we would bring it back because we thought folks might like to return and bring even more friends with them this time. It's on Saturday, April 11th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Arlington Town Hall. With a name like a Disco Extravaganza, I think you know that there's going to be lots of great music. We've got a terrific DJ named Captain Fuzz who's going to be with us, and he's going to be spinning records all night long, and they're going to be like all the great songs that you loved and danced to in the 70s, or that you heard about people loving and dancing to in the 70s. We'll have a live auction event, and we'll have we'll be giving our annual McLennan Award, which is an award that we give every year to a community hero who works in the arts, to the Arlington Housing Authority for all of the great work that they have done with artists and cultural organizations, because they recognize a home isn't just having a roof over your head, that it's about having a place where community grows, and there's no better way to do that than through the arts. And our good friends there at the Arlington Housing Authority have been wonderful program partners with us and with other organizations and artists around town as well. There'll be really terrific food. There's going to be a great crowd there, so it's going to be full of like fun people doing fun things. We're encouraging people to dress 70s style, but there's no obligation to do that, so like that shouldn't keep anyone away. But it's going to be a big, colorful, fun, active night. People can sign up online if they go to our website. There's an events tab at the top, and they can click on that, and they'll see Studio ACA, and they can buy tickets there. If you can't make the event, you can donate online or send a check. Because this event is about having a great time, but it's also about celebrating a great organization that's been around for 38 years and doing wonderful work in the community for people of all ages. So donations are at the heart of this event. The proceeds from the auction will benefit the Arlington Center for the Arts, and we'll also have a live drive that night. So as part of the event, we'll do a donation drive in the middle. I promise it'll be brief and we'll get right back to the music, but we want it to be successful. I'll be there dancing all night long.
Perfect. I will also be there.
Very good. Come dance with me.
And yes, our news producer, Josh Gishri, is planning to attend. So if you happen to see him, feel free to say hi and compliment him on his exquisite dance moves. In Arlington, one local artist is keeping a centuries-old puppetry tradition alive for new audiences. Xinchen Zhao introduces us to puppeteer Margaret Moody and the world of budaishi.
At first glance, they may look small enough to fit in a trunk, but in the hands of Arlington puppeteer Margaret Moody, these figures carry centuries of movement, character, and storytelling.
And you have some friends
along here. First, budaishi means cloth bag theater, which is a strange name. But if I were a Taiwanese puppeteer, when I was done with a show, I would take the costumes off because they're intricate and they're well ironed. And I want to protect the puppet's head. So I would take this beautiful old carved puppet and put him in his cloth bag. So that if I opened a trunk, it's cloth bag theater, because with that one trunk, I could perform hundreds of stories. Because there are a couple of character types, and then they can all change clothes.
Budaishi is a traditional glove puppet form, with a style all its own. Margaret says one of its defining features is balance. The puppet's head and feet carry equal weight, giving the puppeteer more control over movement.
For 11 years, I will go directly to the Jade Emperor.
One of the things to know about budaishi is that the head, whether it's wood or paper clay or an acrylic, and the feet weigh the same. And that means your hand can use that weight to do a lot of work.
That movement is especially clear in one of the best-known figures in Chinese storytelling, the Monkey King. Margaret shows how budaishi brings the Monkey King to life through speed, agility, and playfulness.
So he's going to be great at running. This flipping just really works with him, and he can do all these little tricks and jump from hand to hand.
For Margaret, these art forms became part of her life decades ago. She was studying Mandarin in Taiwan when a friend introduced her to a puppetry master she will never forget.
I was studying Mandarin in Taiwan, in Taipei, and I was mentioning to a French friend that I had done some puppetry in my college, and I really loved it. And he said, "You didn't tell me you like puppets. You have to come see my teacher."
At the time, traditional puppetry in Taiwan was under pressure from movies, television, and changing audience habits. Margaret says her teacher understood that outside interest could help the art survive.
You're a foreigner. If you love this art and you're working on it, newspapers and magazines and TV, they're going to understand that this must be important. And you'll help me revive my art. And the strange thing is that it worked.
That connection still shapes her work today. Margaret has spent years performing stories from Journey to the West, often centered on the Monkey King, and in recent years, she says those performances have taken on new life. Part of that has come through collaboration with musician Jimmy Zhao. His live music helps shape the rhythm and energy of the performance. For Margaret, puppetry is more than technique. It is also a way of stepping into different lives, emotions, and characters. Margaret Moody continues to perform in the Boston area, including through Puppet Showplay Theater and the Arlington Center for the Arts. For ACMi News, I'm Xinchen Zhao.
It was truly remarkable to see that puppetry up close. I highly recommend checking out one of Margaret's shows if you get the chance. What did you do for St. Patrick's Day this year? ACMi's Josh Gishri went out to investigate our green town's holiday spirit.
It's St. Patrick's Day, and we're exploring what East Arlington has to offer for the holiday. The atmosphere was electric in the Menotomy Grill and Tavern, where Eric Kilburn, Seth Connolly, and Kate Byrne provided live Irish music for the festivities.
I love Boston. I went to college in Boston, so I come back a lot, but I live in New York right now. So I started when I was 4 years old, and now I'm 26, so I've been playing for, 22 years almost. I feel like I've always felt connected to Irish and Celtic music because of my family heritage and being Irish myself. My grandfather came over on a boat by himself when he was orphaned at 19 years old. And there's always been that history in my family of kind of being proud of some Irish roots. And especially going to school in Boston and growing up around a lot of Irish music, I've just felt so connected. It's just such a happy form of connecting with people. There's such an amazing community and environment here at Menotomy, and it's a wonderful place to just kind of dig into celebrating a day together. Well, of course, we might be physically far away from Ireland, but here you can really feel the spirit and enjoy that together. There is a song, everybody should look it up, called Volcanic Jig by a fiddler called Natalie McMaster. She is such an icon inspiration. But there's so many wonderful Irish musicians that everybody should enjoy this time of year.
But no St. Patrick's Day celebration is complete without getting yourself an infused dessert.
That is unreal.
I mean it. You get to have all the fun, Josh. And that'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Have a story you want us to cover? Know about an upcoming community event? Share your ideas by writing us at the address on the upcoming screen. For ACMi News, I'm James Milan. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.
ACMI productions are only made possible with your support. Visit patreon.com/ACMI to learn how you can help.